my fault. My fault we're late. Yeah, it's my fault that we're late. So I'm just letting everybody know I got distracted. I'm the reason that we're late. So I want to just say, welcome everybody because of me. So Woody doesn't have a camera. He's in Tucson. So I'll just start and say, hey, welcome to the QB show. I don't know the date. It's August
4th.
4th of August. It's Tuesday. I did figure that out, so I want to thank everybody for that, for joining us for the QB show. Dawn is off tonight. She's, I believe, in New York.
Yeah.
She told me she was getting a burner phone for this week so that nobody could actually contact her, but she wanted to have it in case she needed it. She was not taking her phone. She was going dark, like Jack Bauer. That's what she told me. So we have Woody is here, and Seth. I asked him at the last minute. Seth David, my friend. We have a kind of a big announcement that we're going to make in a little bit that we're going to talk about. But first, I just want to talk about our sponsors for a quick minute because we have some really amazing, sort of awesome sponsors. We're a little bit picky about the sponsors that we choose to come on the show, and our first. And we don't put in any special order, but the first sponsor, and the reason why we say first is because they were our very first sponsor, and it's SkylineCloudServices.com. You may have heard of them as UnidataIT.com, and they do hosting, and they do an amazing job. So they have absolutely, positively saved my bacon quite a few times. Just being able to access stuff through my phone, my iPad. Love it. They're the reason why I could completely boot and get rid of Windows computers altogether. I work completely from a Mac now, or from a few Macs. I mean, I have a couple of them. So they're one of our sponsors. We have Avalara. They do sales tax tracking. They do an amazing job of it. We have T-Sheets. Seth has his T-Sheets hat on. It is T-Sheets Tuesday, as everybody who knows T-Sheets knows it is T-Sheets Tuesday. My family all has their T-sheet shirts as well. I don't have a T-sheet shirt on today, I'm sorry. Fundera.com, they do small business loans. They have a really great, we had Meredith on last week, Meredith Wood from T-Sheets. They have this awesome tool that's coming out. It's called Small Biz, I think, X-Ray, and you can connect your QuickBooks file and it will tell you kind of what makes your company strong and where you need to kind of make some changes in order to get funding or to get better funding. So it's going to be a really neat tool. So if you haven't seen the July 28th show, you should check that out with Meredith Wood from Fundera. And then we also have QVinci. I absolutely positively love QVinci. You can actually check out that. You can take an unlimited amount of QuickBooks accounts, QuickBooks QBO, QuickBooks Desktop, and you can connect them all with QVinci, and you can do combined financial reporting. So it's pretty amazing. Seth, how you doing?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. I'm doing so well that my life should have background music.
Oh, nice.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, or maybe like a montage video?
Something like that, and I often think that, and then I realize I've got Spotify playing.
Nice.
So because I think that my life actually does have background music.
Okay, that's cool. Woody, how you doing? Where you at? Woody, are you there?
Woody, unmute.
I feel like.
Sorry. Yeah.
There he goes.
I was on vacation last week in Tucson. We're trying to find a house to relocate here. And we're kind of in the process of that. And then because there's a big meeting here, I was asked to stay this week. So I'm working from here. But I've left all my laptop bag, basically my office. Like, how Bryce's office is his knapsack?
Yes.
And so I have a similar thing. So I left that, though, back home because I wasn't needing it. It was going to be a short vacation, in fact, out and back. So I have a loaner laptop that has no battery life. It always has to be plugged in.
Nice.
And yeah, I've been able to, with the cloud, meet all of my responsibilities, except for having a camera for this show tonight. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Because I have everything up in, various secure, boxes, if you will, that are in the cloud. And so I can just download and access them anywhere. So it's pretty cool to see that happen and do webinars, even for desktop products, all using a laptop that I don't really own.
By the way, I always carry a spare webcam with me wherever I go.
Nice.
I'm not at that level, though, but one day I'll get a spare.
You're not at that level. I'm not at that level.
So, I kind of like the picture we have from you. I think with the glasses and stuff is fine.
I like that. I think it works.
I think you look good.
That'll do, right? Way better than how I look right now. So that'll do.
You got almost like a Clark Kent kind of thing going on.
They'll have to stand in for me for tonight. But I can share out stuff, which is cool. So whenever we get to that, let me know. Let's let Seth. Maybe Seth has. You know, we want to get. He's graciously come on tonight, so maybe he could update us with what he's doing and any cool QBO stories, stuff like that.
Well,
No, I'm really not doing anything worth talking about.
Oh, shush. We have something really exciting. Seth and I have something really exciting.
We do actually.
Do you want to tell them?
Yeah, I want to tell you the backstory. So Stacy, as I'm sure everybody knows by now, recently launched StacyK.net, and the timing of it was sort of uncanny because she was working in the background on that like all year, and I've been working a lot in my own background on what I'm calling Course 21 for schoolofbookkeeping.com. And both Stacy K Academy and my Course 21 kind of address the same sort of core concept, but they approach it from a very different perspective, which is how to build a practice, how to build the firm of the future, really, right? We've been talking a lot about the firm of the future and how to build that kind of accounting practice in the future. So, of course, back of that is that both of our concepts, I think, deal a lot with learning how to use different applications that are out there. And so Stacy and I were talking recently, and we've had a number of conversations over a long period of time about, okay, how do we work together? What can we do? What can we do together? Let's do it. Let's figure it out. Let's keep putting it out there in the universe. And finally, we were sort of, I think, half joking, half serious, saying, all right, let's come up with a name. Let's review some apps for people, and we'll make it into like a little show, and we'll see how it goes and see where it takes us. So we were trying to come up with names, and if I remember correctly, I think I threw it out there, and I sort of half expected Stacy to say, no, that's ridiculous, but I threw it out there, Apposaurus, right, like an Apposaurus Rex.
Yeah.
So, and Stacy, I'll let you take over from there and explain the rest.
And so my kids were, and I said I freaking love it, although I don't think I use freaky, and I think I actually dropped an F-bomb on that text. And so then we decided, yeah, we're going to do it. So we were texting back and forth, and then we decided, like, how are we going to rate it? And so my daughter actually came up with kind of the rating system, whereas if we liked it, it was going to be a little Tyrannosaurus, and then if it wasn't good, it was going to be a meteor, right? So like the meteor coming and wiping out the dinosaurs, and so that it just kind of evolved. And so we're going to, I mean, long story short, I don't want to get into all the details, but we had a long phone conversation and a lot of text messages over the weekend, and so we are doing our first webinar in a few weeks, and what we're going to do is every month, if we get enough interest, we're going to pick a theme every month, and we're going to review a new app every week, and we'll work on it, and we'll do some screenshots, and he and I are going to discuss it back and forth, and we have a set criteria. We have 5 things that we're going to rate the app on, and it's going to be pricing, collaboration, platform consistency, a learning curve, and then the last one's going to be kind of a wild card, so just something about it that Seth and I can sort of decide, and it's going to be something that each one of us gets to decide, and then we'll do a live webinar and sort of review it. And what's really kind of cool, and I was explaining this to my husband, is that Seth and I do pretty much exactly the same thing, but we both do it also differently. Even though, well, we were on the phone today, what was really funny is he uses kind of a mind mapping brainstorming tool, and I said, oh my gosh, that hurts my brain to look at. You use a mind mapping tool, and I use something completely different, but they both have the same goal in mind, and they both do sort of the same thing, but they just do it completely differently. And I think this is going to be really fun because he's a Windows Android person, and I'm absolutely a Mac iPhone person, and so we both have such similar businesses, and we do the same thing, but we just do them so completely different. So I'm ridiculously excited about this. So you guys can go register at Eventbrite, and it's the first app that we're going to review is Google Keep.
So where do they go? Where do they register then?
They can go register at Eventbrite. I posted it on Facebook. If you go on Twitter, I mean, if you go,
we're sharing it. Just check our social media channels, and you'll see the link. Because we're doing this sort of very informally for now. We'll see where it goes. If it takes off and everybody loves it, then we'll formalize it, put up a website, and do all that good kind of stuff. We've been toyed around with two possible sort of options where people can either, pay as you go, just go see one show and get the recording, or actually sign up for a membership where you'd have access to everything as well as the ongoing conversations that Stacy and I have around these apps in between shows, so people can be sort of privy to that type of discussion. So we're playing with it. We're already getting some love here on Twitter, which is great. Shout out to Mariette Martinez, and it looks like my good friend Pat Hartley is out there. Nice to see Pat out there in the Twitterverse. And Gabriel. Gabe is out there. Gabe Pena. He's an avid follower on the School of Bookkeeping site of ours. Big part of our community. Love that guy. And of course, the incredible one and only Christine Galley is out here.
I know. I love her. She's my Michigander. She's my Michigan girl.
Didn't Dr. Spock do some kind of mind mapping, or was that mind meld? I think it was
mind mapping. So mind map is, I use the tool Stacy was referring to that she saw on my screen is called the brain.
Yeah.
And it's just that. It's a way of mapping kind of what's on your mind so that you can get your ideas organized in a way that's consistent with how you think. Because not everybody, in fact, I'd argue that very few people actually think in a linear way, which is how we're going to be inclined to lay out our ideas if we're using like a Word document or something simple like that.
That's cool. Maybe, Perrier or Pellegrino. I love
What am I drinking? Perrier, yes.
Love
I'm just drinking tap water.
Yeah, that's great stuff. A little lemon in there. That's nice.
I'm not quite so fancy.
Yep. Well, and actually,
old
Perrier
well water.
Perrier favorited a tweet of mine because I mentioned that when I break out the Perrier, that means it's time to get serious.
Yeah, totally. No, that's awesome. Little fizz there. Well, that's cool, and maybe we can do a little dive into the brain app, just high-level overview, unless it's sensitive info. It might be cool for people to see.
No, in fact, I have the perfect thing. Do you want to do that now?
We're going to do all QBO. So we're going to wait. We're going to wait for the Apatosaurus for that.
The mind meld.
Woody,
but we'll have.
Woody, I want you to talk about what we got on our. We're going to wait for the Apatosaurus to talk about some mind melding stuff. We've got a huge thing that just got released, and we're going to give you guys a little teaser about it.
And I found out today that actually the marketing went out to accountants first. It'll go out to the small business customer base. Then
that makes sense.
But that's why it said QBO app accountant for Windows.
Because we were confused.
I'm going to share out, though you can't see me. You can just see me in the sunglasses. But I'm sharing. I'm going to go here. Now, this page, the QuickBooks Online Accountant app. So we sent this out to accountants first. And they already have one for Mac. So basically, you might have heard, and we might have mentioned on the show, is that we've been creating a QBO app for Windows. It's a small little skin executable that you install and you download for free as long as you have a login to QBO. You can actually just send this along to your clients too. The accountant piece doesn't really matter because I can access both QBO files and QBOA realms with this app. And what it does is allows you to not have to sign into a browser. It's quote-unquote a trouser. And maybe Seth could explain that when I'm done, is really what a trouser means. The data is still on Intuit's servers. It's still connected. You can't yet work offline, but it is an application that you install and you work in, and it has a similar open window functionality, auto refresh, and it has a top menu bar when you're in QBO. So for those longtime desktop users, we feel like it'll allow you to acclimate better and maybe work faster than just the tab browsing tips and tricks that we've been training, and Stacy's been training for years with Intuit Academy and QBO Cert. So you go to this site, and I've left it up here, so just watch the video later, and I think you can find it right from quickbooks.intuit.com/accountants. You should be able to find it there. And I'm not sure if we're doing an alert on it. I thought we might have for like Pro Advisor, so look for that too. But you just click to download it and you install it as if you were installing desktop, but it only takes like a couple minutes. It's not a huge like 600 megabyte program, right? That like here's my Intuit Enterprise, right? It's not that. But it does say QuickBooks. That's it. There's nothing else. Like you'll have your Intuit QuickBooks Accountant Edition, 2015 or Enterprise or QuickBooks Pro. But for the app, it just says QuickBooks, though it has a similar icon, right? So I just kind of put it off to the right, if you will. And you double-click on it and you sign in. And here's what. So I'm in QBO. I'm in QBOA at this point. Now, just to know, it's going to look for a QBO file. So anybody who has a QBO login can use this app, and there's no cost for it, right? You're already paying for the subscription. Or if you're a QBOA user and there's no cost to be the accountant, right, and you invite a bunch of staff, they can download it too, as long as they have a login. And there's a little screen which you log into and you pick your realm. You know, in my case, it was a firm name. And it actually lands me in the books file, which I've already said, hey, accountants are going to want it to land in the Your Practice section, so we're aware of that. But it's, you know, it's looking for a QBO file, so it lands in the Your Books file. So when I launch the app and log in and choose Adams Guild Gibson PC, I land here. But then I go to my practice, and here's if I'm going in through Firefox or Chrome or IE, you know, I have my client dashboard, etc. But the real thing is this menu bar at the top, right? So let me actually go into a client. I'm just going to Cloud Collaboration, and it's going to load. And if something's going into, you know, a QBO file, say loading, please wait. But the three things are keyboard shortcuts. There's 100 of them, just like there is in desktop. And I'll show you under the Help menu. There's a little PDF. You can have windows open, and I'll show you how the windows open. And when you write a check or enter a journal entry that would affect a report you have open, you know how in the web browser version, when you're doing the tab browsing, you have to click the refresh, and you don't know what report that tab is anyways. You could have 5 or 6 tabs open, and you know there's several different reports. The name typically isn't in the browser name; it just says QuickBooks or QuickBooks Online or the company file name. So this will literally have open windows. So what I've been doing is minimizing the left panel. Because really, I'm using, you know, the menu bar at the top. So you got File, you know, Edit, and then Create would be the plus sign. The spinny plus, as Stacy says, is going to be all the stuff that would be under there.
Companies, I prefer you call it spinny plus.
Yeah, spinny plus is right here. See, I'm not going to actually use, Stacy, the left bar, plus sign, or the gear icon. I'm just going to use.
Okay. So this is
for across the top.
This is maybe for like the hardcore desktop users who are very, very menu driven. This is maybe
totally, and
yeah.
Separate windows. Yeah, so company would be your preferences, company settings, manage users is here, the audit log report, etc. Navigate is going to be that left panel. And then reports. So I'll just open a P&L and notice it opens in a separate window. And we're going to have actually the product manager on to fully go into the details and stuff. But I'm starting to use this every day just to get used to it because as we're creatures of habit, I've been really used to the browser version of QBO and all the tips and tricks. And you know, so but for Power Desktop users, this is going to be exciting. There's my P&L. Then I have a balance sheet, you know, and then you can even do a favorites if you want. A little menu of all your stuff, kind of like the favorites menu in desktop. You know that we added. I think.
Woody, I missed it. Does that automatically pop out in a new window, or did you do something to make it do that?
Oh yeah, it's this window. You have to check the box. Menu items, open new windows.
Yeah.
But this is already checked by default. And if I were to do this and go to the plus sign and do a journal entry, look at the little icon here. If I do journal entry here, it's just going to open in the Trouser, which is like the home page, like the main window. But if I click the little icon, it's going to open the journal entry. And how you see open windows is you go down to your, and I don't have the arrow settings turned on, but I go down to my system tray where the QB icon is, and there's 4 of them. And then I can just go back to the balance sheet, or I can go back to the P&L, or I can go back to the main Trouser.
If you right-click, I believe you get an option to cascade them or something, I bet.
Yeah, there is something cool I think you can do with, no, it's not there. It has something to do with snap to left, snap to right. I'm not sure what those are yet. Yeah, well, there's a way to arrange it. I'm not, you know.
Well, and we'll have the product manager on, I think, in another couple weeks. So.
Snap to left.
I was just curious. I don't think the Mac desktop application for QBO does the window pop-out thing.
Well, what I like on the Mac one is that you can do that. You 3 fingers down on the pad, and it will put them in quadrants. So I'll be able to see which window I want to go to. Whereas in Windows, I'm not sure how you do that because that's a Mac thing, but you just hover over. So here's my journal entry again. And now notice Stacy, I've noticed some things though. There's no like recent transaction tab.
Oh.
Little things like that that I've noticed that hopefully will, it won't be in version 1 obviously because this is live now, and I don't think we're changing it much for the small business launch. But these little things like that. But also the keyboard. Right. So and when I write a check and it affects that P&L, the P&L blinks and it's auto refresh, so I don't have to go refresh it.
Right.
Files this way, just kind of in and out. But I'm in the kind of the app, and then the keyboard shortcuts are here. And there's, right now QBO has what, like 15? There's tons here, and I'll try to blow it up, and everybody can kind of download that. There's a lot of keyboard shortcuts.
That is cool. So that was, you clicked somewhere in the browser to access that PDF, right?
If I go back to QuickBooks, and under Help, there's keyboard shortcuts.
That's awesome.
And so they're kind of similar. Oh, and by the way, these windows that pop open, like I can put it on another monitor. So that's still available on my desktop. You can't. Now, I don't have another monitor on my loaner laptop that has no battery life. So, but you can have it, the P&L over there, or the register over there, and the bank feed window over here, and even if I am right on a check over there, or maybe I'll do a check like in the main window, it's going to affect all the child windows, like.
So I know people are going to have this question. If I'm working in this desktop application and my internet goes down while I'm in the middle of recording a transaction, what happens? Can I record the transaction? It'll sync up once I'm live again? Exactly,
yeah. But there's no offline working. So if the internet goes out, the last thing you did is synced. But soon, eventually I can see, because I can't say soon or anything or commit to this, but I think the eventual goal will be that, like with Outlook or something else, you can work offline, and then once you get back online, it syncs everything you did over the last 2 hours while you're offline. I mean, that's kind of the goal, and I think that'll solve some really cool stuff. But for now, because you have to have the internet connection, high speed, obviously. Now, technically, and Alex Blake has left now. Of course, he's gone on to work at a different company. But technically, the speed is supposed to be enhanced.
Yes, James Clemay is on Twitter, and that was the first thing he commented, that it seems to run much faster. And from what I recall, when I was secretly being shown this back in January, that was a big part of the benefit of this, was that it was built to work much faster than if you're working directly in the browser.
Yeah, that and the report auto-refresh. I mean, that's one of the big things, is that and reports auto-refresh. It's supposed to be faster, and there was something else that was a BFD. That, and I think like this is supposed to be the bridge.
You said BFD.
I did say BFD, and if you want, it's a big fucking BFD. I whispered it. I did not say it out loud. Just FYI, just for anybody. I did not say it out loud. But no, I mean, it's a big deal. And so, like, when I first saw this, I saw this, and it wasn't even an app yet. It was just like drawings of it. So this, I said, when is this going to be done? Because I feel like this is the bridge, right? So this is what is going to take the hardcore desktop people. This is going to help them make that transition, I feel, from the desktop to QuickBooks Online. So.
Oh, and there's a full screen mode too, if you want to like max out.
Yeah. Like, I feel.
I love maxing out.
Yeah. So this is, again, if you turn in the left thing, you can literally just work with the top menu. So I think for me, it's the auto refresh, the keyboard shortcuts, although I don't use them myself, but there are many that do, and then the open windows, that to me, and the speed would be like the fourth thing. I think in that order. I think the auto refresh is why you do it. It's just important for if there are any accountants who are using QBOA and the new QBOA, if you're going to use the app for that, just know that when you log in, it's going to bring you to your books file. So just know you have to click on your practice. Because
wait, I just want to clarify for the Twitter people. I did not say the F word out loud. I whispered it on accident.
Yeah.
So just clarifying that.
And here's the, let me see, you can switch company there so I can go to other files. But if I sign out, don't exit, I think we'll see the splash screen. And I'll close the PDF. But there's some good, oh, I guess not, so.
Oh, excellent. It stopped working. So, you know, here's what I wonder, because of course if you're like me, then you like to see what you can do to mess with these things and push the limits. So I wonder what would happen if I'm in the desktop client and at the same time I log in from my browser and add a transaction in on the browser side. Will it like sync up, or would I actually have to close the desktop app and reopen it for that to show up?
No, you're in the same file. It's a single ledger.
Yeah.
Right, but it's still, there's a bridge between my desktop and the cloud when I'm working in the app, so that's what I'm wondering. I guess the other thing I'm wondering is if somebody else is in the same file, let's say somebody else is at their computer, whether they're browser or desktop client, how quickly will it sort of, will it show up on my end, I guess is what I'm wondering.
Like it would if you're both in browsers.
Yeah.
And so if there's a conflict, if we both try to access the same transaction at the same time, I imagine we'll get a warning, or it'll say, hey, this is locked by such and such user. Okay.
Yeah. So
I always ask the tough questions, Woody.
That's good. That's very good. But here's the splash screens. Here's what they would see, right? And it says, click access to QBO, or one-click access, because you can do stay signed in. So when you double-click on the app, it just opens to the file you're in. And then pages load incredibly fast. I think they load faster. I mean, Alex had sent me the breakdown of like an invoice loads 2.3 seconds faster or stuff like that. I mean, it's still like minimal, but I think you do notice it a little bit. But it's this multiple windows to switch back and forth, and the auto refresh. I was hoping we put that on here. But literally, here's what it would be when you sign in and you see the list of your clients. They should show up.
Yeah, we have a new guest.
So, Woody, one thing I missed, I think, when you were, I don't know where, somebody's asking me where my cats are. I don't know where my cats are. I'm surprised they haven't been back here. So one thing that I missed is when you write a check, you're not gonna be able to pop that out. It's just really kind of the reports, right? Because I know in the Mac, I have the Mac one open on my screen.
I'm going to go in not as QBOA. I'm going to go in just to the client as if I'm just, you know.
I love how that fills up like QuickBooks Kool-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys see Ralphie? The world-famous Ralphie is here with us.
I see him.
The check. No, Stacy, I can do a check. I can pop it out by going to Spinny Plus and this little icon here.
Oh, okay, okay.
Kick out,
yeah.
And it kicks it out. But you're right. I think if I were to do a check from Create, it's going to pop. No, this will pop it out too. So if I do a bill, it's going to pop it out. If I were to do it from the plus sign, it would do it in the window. Yeah. So if I were to do it from like here, it would do it in the window.
Because I don't think that it does that in the Mac one. I don't.
Here, if I just do like pay bills here, it's going to bring it in the trouser. This is like, you know, the main window.
Yeah.
But then I know I have a new bill here, you know. I mean, I think
because I don't think the Mac one, I can't get it to open up, and I don't know how to get it to open up in the Mac one. Like the transactions, I don't know how.
They're having the little kick out icon too. And so, oh, you know what I am missing though? Window close all. Kind of want that. That'd be sweet.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite.
Now I have to close all of these individually, you know. And then even if I close out of QuickBooks, the other windows will still be open. So I gotta like, you know, you're gonna have all these tabs open that have the QB. But here's the open window list here, right? I mean, so here it is, down in your system tray. And I think there's, and Seth, you would know, the arrow settings with Windows. If you turn that on, you can actually see thumbnail pics, right, of like a check or a bill. So it might be easier than just it says profit and loss. So it'd actually be a thumbnail pic of the P&L, you know, and you just see them here vertically, and you just choose where you want to go. Or maybe you do this, right? You would do your, you know, your Alt Tab.
I would be more inclined to do Alt. I'm a big Alt Tab guy. I'm like all about Alt Tab.
Let me do that while let me just kick this out and just make sure I have it in Alt Tab, which I probably do. Yeah, see? But I can't tell what it is for the Alt Tab. That's the only.
If you stop on it, no, that says check. If you stop on the item, keeping the Alt key down and letting go of Tab, see that says check. So it does tell you which window you're on.
Yeah, I might start doing that too. And then Bergstein said, I don't know if you know Dave Bergstein, but he's a BDM. He travels and visits the top 100 firms. But anyway, I do like the idea of closing. I mean, if you really are just a top menu bar person, then really you have no need for plus sign, the gear icon, or the left panel. You literally just live here and just do your thing.
Yeah.
And these are always going to open out in their own window. I think there was one
try
other.
to stay out of the bar myself, but that's another story for another show.
Yeah, right. Yeah. There's another thing too. Is I thought there was something when you double-click a transaction, it's supposed to open. Let me see if it. Yeah. When you double-click, it kicks it out in its own window. When you single-click, it opens it in the browser, the main page.
So I'm going to screen share. I want to show that compared to the Mac one, if you don't mind.
No, please. Do it to the Mac one. Let me go back to my Google Hangout. Stop.
So this is compared to the Mac. So I have the Mac client open. So I can, I have the reports, some of the reports open, and these are the keyboard shortcuts for the Mac, but I can't figure out how to, kick out, the expense, the transaction. So if I go to the reports, it's really easy to open those up in a different screen. So I can, close these all out. Here, let me, if I can do full screen. You can do full screen, too. It's really easy to do full screen.
Can you pop Windows out? Because I was with a client who's using the Mac app the other day.
So you can this way with reports, but I can't, and I don't use this very often because I've been using QBO forever, so I hardly ever use this. I tend to use the browser. I can't figure out, I can do it with reports, but I can't figure out how to do it with transactions.
Right. So open them from the top. Isn't the top browser? Go to your top menu bar. Yeah. Go to, is it Navigate? Oh, where's Create? Oh, there's no Create button?
Yeah, but...
That's weird. There you go. Try that. Does it open it?
No, it brings it, it pulls it down. It doesn't open it up in a new...
I think we're adding it. We're adding those little icons to the Mac app, too.
Okay, all right. Because I couldn't figure out. I was like, why can't I...
Yeah.
I can only do it with the reports. Okay, so that's not... I don't have that yet in the Mac. Okay, because I'm gonna say I have Windows envy for that right now, and I'm upset. All right, so that's cool. That's a nice little teaser, which leads me to, we have a little bit of time. I was on a call with Tom Paul Freeman from Intuit, and we were going over some of the things that he talks to other pro advisors about, that they don't like QuickBooks, right? So they don't like QBO. They have complaints about it. And what do you have to say, Woody, about no multiple windows? Well, I'll ask you, Seth. What do you have to say when people don't like, when they say they don't like no multiple windows in QuickBooks Online?
I say, shut up.
Right. And then I punch him in the throat.
Yeah, and then I punch him in the throat. No, I mean, look, it's, I joke around in a different context, but it's the same idea. People say, oh, I use all these different apps. How many different apps can I use? And I can open up 3 different browser windows, and I joke around and say, it's not like I have to walk 3 miles to go from one tab to the next. And so that's my multi-window solution with QBO, or any cloud-based application for that matter. Just open up another tab. And I do that all the time. And I can even separate my tabs, so it's really like I have 2 separate windows moving around my screen in the same Chrome session. I mean, isn't that remarkable? So, I think what it is we get so hung up on what we're used to that we experience this extreme inertia. right?
Yep.
We're afraid of change. We don't want to accept that, you know, maybe what we ought to do, and I know some people are going to get mad at me when I say this, but that's good. So, you know, maybe what we ought to do is set aside what we think we know about what an accounting program should look and work like, and open up our mind for a new experience, and accept that this is not the same program that we're used to on the desktop. It works differently. It looks differently. And as I've often heard people add into it themselves say, you know, in retrospect, they probably shouldn't have called it QuickBooks Online. They should have called it something else, so that maybe people would be more sort of ready to accept that this is a different program.
So while you were talking, what I did was I right-clicked on my tab and I hit duplicate or duplicate, and I just created another tab. So this is how you can have multiple windows. And I'm using one monitor, but I could pull this over and put it on as many tabs as as many monitors. So that's how you have multiple windows in QuickBooks Online.
And I also noticed, Stacy, by the way, if you click on the gear icon, and I think it depends what version of QuickBooks you're in, but some of them actually have an option right in there that says open in a new window or open a second window.
Yeah, you can do that. For me, that's more clicks. So for me, I just right-click and hit duplicate, and it's done, and then I can go do what I need to do. I mean, so I just think that's a lot easier. Or, you know what I generally do is in QuickBooks or in Chrome, I just open the tab and then I create bookmarks to where I go the most often in QBO. So you can see here I have write check, I have bank feeds, I have customers, employees. So a lot of these pages are the same no matter what account you're in QuickBooks Online. So I don't even have to duplicate or do new window. I can just click the tab and I can say go to write check, or I can click over here and I can say go to the employee tab. So I don't even have to do that. I can just bookmark the things that I do most often in QBO and just go to another tab and I'm where I need to be. So that's another way that you can just open and navigate and have a new window open and do what you need to do. And you can even, you know, bookmark reports, you know, reports that you use often. So that's another option. Somebody was complaining about that they can't...
I'm sorry, Stacy, let me stop you there for a second, because I just want to clarify this, because I know there's people who are watching this who are probably wondering. So when I create those bookmarks in one company file, it's still going to work and take me to the same comparable thing in another client's file, because the bookmark link is sort of generic, correct?
For some of them. Sometimes with registers, for bank registers, those are going to be a little...
bank name, right.
Yeah, so those are, but like for the bank fees, write check, like customers, employees, basically those are kind of very generic. But for maybe a bank register or a bank account, those might be very specific. But for the employee center, the customer center, the vendor center, those are all going to be the same, basically the same page a lot of times. It's not going to work for every single page in QBO, but for the most part, a lot of those bookmarks are going to be the same.
Yep.
So very simple.
Yeah, and you, I mean, so I don't think. Let's put it this way. I think that would be a really poor reason to not go to QBO, is because of the multi-window thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's the battle I fight daily with firms that are just 99% desktop, and I have to try to acclimate them, you know, with Stacy's tricks here, and then when I show them the Windows app, they like see this ray of hope. It's really hard for them. Like that inertia is really set in, and that's fine. I mean, I totally empathize. I mean, I still use desktop installed Outlook, so you know, I agree. We're kind of creatures of habit, and so I totally empathize with them. And I don't really have a dog in the fight. It sounds to me like, Stacy, you probably still use browsers. I actually prefer the browsers because that's what I'm used to. But I am forcing myself using the Windows app because, well, for one thing, I don't use QBO in real life, so I don't have all the pain that people are feeling with Windows and workflow. I kind of like how QBO works. I'm more like a small business using it, right?
Well, the reason I would be inclined to want to use the Windows app is the speed. I mean, for me, speed is everything. If it's going to make a noticeable difference in how quickly I can get things done, then I'm all about that.
And if you can work offline, that'd be sweet too, right? I mean, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. The other thing, too, that was a big issue is not being able to assign vendors expense accounts. So in desktop, so for a lot of desktop users, they'll go to the vendor record and they can assign expense accounts to specific vendors. And so it's not exact, but what you can do is you can use bank feed rules. And so one of the things that Woody has set up, because this, if you go here, this is like my actual Amex, these are my actual transactions here. And so there are some coffee transactions. And so what we've done is we have set up bank feed rules. So when you see anything that comes in from Starbucks, we have a rule set up, and if we go edit this rule, you can see that if the rule name is Starbucks and it's for anything going out on this American Express account, so if it has the description that contains Starbucks, it becomes an expense type, an expense. The payee gets automatically assigned to Starbucks. Woody so graciously gave me an expense account that is specifically called coffee. There's no class tracking, and so it automatically gets posted to that expense account.
Should it not be its own expense account?
It should not, but this is for demonstration purposes. This is a demo account that we use, and this is to explain how this process works. We also have one because I live in the great state of Michigan, which I prefer everyone call the Enchanted Mitten. We have Tim Hortons here, which is amazing coffee, and so I prefer to call it Timmy Ho-Ho's. And so we also have another one that I call Timmy Ho-Ho. And so anytime there is a description that includes Tim Horton, it also gets assigned an expense, and the expense payee is Tim Hortons. It also gets assigned to my coffee expense account, and it's good to go. So when you see this here, it's automatically, it's a rule, right? So there's also a travel rule. So anytime it sees that, you don't even have to worry about it. QuickBooks Online automatically knows, hey, it has Starbucks, it has Tim Hortons, we're good to go. Yep, we can just go in and we can go ahead and accept those selected, and we're kind of good. So there's things like that that people that are used to using some of those features that are in desktop that aren't necessarily in QuickBooks Online, but we can do things that are a little similar in QBO.
You know what I wish we had, as far as rules go? This is a big problem for me, especially in desktop, where I've had the same company file for many years, and I've accumulated a lot of, because before it was the aliases, and then in more recent versions it became the rules. Amen. I wish there was a way to just like do it all over, to say, you know what, wipe out every rule and let me start over. Because I've noticed that at times you just accumulate a lot of garbage, and things start actually, like I had a situation where somehow a transaction from State Farm went to the State Board of Equalization. I have no idea how that rule got created, but it did. It was probably me just going too fast one day and approving something incorrectly. But so I wish there was a way to just click a button and say, reset every rule, I want to start all over.
So hold on. No, you can't do it even in QBO. I was hoping you could, like, there's a batch action tab, you know, you could delete them all, but you can't. You're right, that's a good idea. Good idea.
That would be fun.
All right, but...
And then Woody, I want you to talk about your list that you came up with, some of the stuff on your list. We have like 15 minutes. Your blog post from the other day.
Could be in a detail type in QBO. I think it should be a detail type account. Like, you know how when you're setting up an account in QBO and you got to choose a detail type?
Yeah.
You choose one of the sub details or sub categories for that account should be coffee.
Yeah, it should be detail type.
I understand that from a CPA standpoint, you know, and Seth is like, well, no, you'd never have a coffee expense account.
Well,
but
coffee
I don't know.
is life, so I think it should be. Just saying.
No, I could do with that. I could do with a coffee expense account. If you're somebody who's spending that much money on coffee, then sure, why not?
Coffee is life. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but all right. So the list, yes.
Do you want to show some of those, some of the bigger ones that we love, like some of your favorites?
But I'm not remembering this list. What was the list?
So we have mobile app. Well, we can demo the mobile app. I have my phone connected to my computer right now.
Hold on, this was that PowerPoint.
I can demo that on my Mac right now if you want. We can show that.
This was that slide of the, yeah, we did, it was the, what do we call that? I had a slide on it that would be easier.
It was Leon get larger.
Yeah, I know. Right, Leon getting larger.
That's from Airplane the movie.
Yeah, it is.
Darn, if I had, sorry I didn't think about this before because I could have.
No, that's okay.
The actual slide, which would be.
It's on the. It's a. What's it called? It's a blog post on our website.
You did a blog on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's in my trouser.
It's.
Sorry.
I need to find it here. Actually, Valerie then took it and broke it out into cool looking slides. So let me.
Well, hang on, because while you're doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something kind of cool because I'm going to, while you're looking for that deck.
I got it.
Oh, well, okay, because I was going to show, out, hang on, I'm going to show, oh shoot, I was going to show this. Can you guys, hold on.
Not yet.
So can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is the mobile app, right? And this is what I love about the mobile app, which is the like how you can deal with the bank feed. So this is usually how I do my own books, where like when you're dealing with the mobile app, you can say, oh, I'm going to go ahead and match this, right? Have you guys ever done the bank feed from the mobile app? Has anybody ever done this?
Negative.
Oh my gosh, I love this. So
See, I hate the thought of even attempting to do accounting in a mobile app. That's just me.
oh my gosh, I love this. So I can go in and it's recognizing all of these are all of the bank feed. So I'm saying, oh yeah, this is great, right? So I can just go through and look at it and I can say, yep, go ahead and add that, match it, do what I need to do. It's so cool.
So some people are saying that not all of their clients show up on the app.
Not all of their clients show up on the app?
Correct. Versus online.
I don't know. I'm not going to get into what clients show up where. I can't, like that hurts my brain, and I would say call support, but I'm just saying, like, this is one of my very favorite things about the mobile.
I would argue that they're logging into the mobile app with a different user ID that they have for some of those clients.
Yeah, so I can just, like, it's kind of Tindery, so I can swipe right to, like, say yes, or swipe left to say no, right? So I can swipe right, and it's accepted. I can undo it if I screw it up, right? Weston is travel. Like, it's just really cool. You can go and I can say, I want to maybe create an invoice if I need to. You guys don't you think this is cool?
I do. I think it's cool. But I'm with Seth. I think that we're just getting smaller and smaller, and I mean, the screen, have a little bigger. I mean,
I love this. I'm just going to say, I use my mobile app for QBO services all the time.
See, I'm good with waiting until I'm at a real computer to do this kind of stuff. I just feel like I have more sort of vision into what I'm doing and where things are going. I feel like on a mobile app, I'm going to rush and mess something up.
No, I use this more than for my own business. For my clients, I'll sit at a browser and do it, but for my own business, I actually use this more than I do, I sit at a browser.
And the millennials will use this too. I mean, I think you're kind of millennial at heart, Stace, with this kind of stuff, right? So.
Like I can look. I was just comparing my P&L. Like we were going to REI the other day.
Wow, you made $6 million?
Well, this isn't mine. I would love it if I made $6 million. But yeah, I was comparing my P&L this year to last year while we were all headed down to REI on Sunday morning. I was looking at my numbers. I was updating my bank feed and looking at my numbers, and it was pretty awesome.
Let's do this.
See, when I'm on my mobile device, I'm probably just going to like listen to Spotify or something.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry, but I just think it's cool. So, because the only time I just love the mobile app. I use it all the time for my own business.
You know what? I know lots of people are into that. They're just they like to do everything they can on the mobile app. Me, I'm very impatient working on a small device doing certain kinds of things. Accounting is one of them.
Okay.
By the way, it's worth noting that I'm going to be at QuickBooks Connect. You're all going to be at QuickBooks Connect, right?
I'll be at QuickBooks Connect.
And I got my golden ticket. Did you get yours?
I got my golden ticket, yeah. And I haven't lost it. I got it like in the spring, and I haven't lost it.
And I'm doing a talk. I'm going to be talking at QuickBooks Connect. Isn't that exciting?
That is good.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's a cool gig.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a question, or just like a segue. Stacy, we can go over the Leon's Getting Larger thing, like for a show. That would be cool, and just dive into the key stuff.
Okay.
But since, he came on to the show, and let's have him share out and go through the brain. I mean, I bet some people would love to see that.
All right, let's see it. Bring it.
All right, I'll show you my brain. It's a scary place. It's a scary, scary place.
And then the benefits of using it, Seth, for people that, like you say, we're not really linear thinkers, so someone who's watching is definitely going to love this. Okay,
so you might want to, Stacy, you're the official host, so you might want to click my screen so people can see it. Okay, cool. So the brain is a mind map, like I said. I'm going to click on my home button, and the idea is just as it suggests, is to map your mind and ideas. So, for example, this is a mind map that I created based on Course 21, which is part of the inspiration that Stacy and I are talking about in this Apatosaurus Rex thing that we're doing. But this is where I started going out and researching. I wanted to look at all the different kinds of applications and start categorizing them into different genres, if you will. And so I started doing that. So I go into applications, and I have accounting applications. I have CRM, right? So I click CRM, and here's a whole bunch of CRM applications that, some of them were just right off the top of my head. Others I found just researching online to see what kind of CRMs were out there. I was curious to find some CRMs that I had not heard of. So this is a nice little list, and there's way more than this. And you can customize it. Notice if I hover my mouse over the actual CRM thought, I have an icon there that's a picture of two people, because that's what a CRM does. It connects me to people, right? So then I can go over here and I can look at document management, right? And under here, I've listed Box.net, Dropbox, Evernote, Google Docs, Ledger Docs, ShareFile, SmartVault, all these document management applications that we can use. Now, the other cool thing that this does is in each of these thoughts, hi Gabriel, in each of these thoughts, I can actually add an attached file right here. I can add in an Excel sheet. And so what's going to happen is Excel is going to open up based on the name of the thought, and it's going to name the Excel document Document Management, because that's the name of the thought. So that when I close this, I have my document right in here. And this syncs to the web. There's a website of this where I can go access the same mind map through the web. You have to pay money, to have that kind of functionality. But and I can add. Notice here all the things. I can add a link to a URL. I can link to a folder on my computer. I can link to a file as opposed to having it embedded, right? And then there are some templates I can work with from in here. So this is again, it's a way of organizing your thoughts and ideas and things that you want to do. I'll quickly jump over just to give you another context. So here's Nerd School of Business. So this is kind of a mind map that School of Bookkeeping is one component of a much larger picture that for years I've said I wanted to build, and when I first got together with Eric Greenspan, this is what we looked at, and we said, let's focus on School of Bookkeeping, do one thing and do it really well, but I can show you that we've got plans for a School of Social Media. Here's some thoughts I had about just general productivity, project management applications, and doing kind of a school dedicated just to that. What's going to happen likely is a lot of this is just going to get built into School of Bookkeeping. Here's accounting and bookkeeping, And so in here you can see there's a lot of QuickBooks industry-specific courses that I have outlined here that I plan to do. Some of them I've already done, like the real estate. So that's what a mind map is. It's really just that. It's a way of laying out your thoughts. And then the cool thing is you can actually take this and embed it on a page in a website. I can actually, when I go into the web side of it, there's a share option where I can get embed code and drop it into a page. So if I want to make this public and use it as a way of sharing ideas with the public, it's just a great little tool for doing something like that.
Yeah. And I use something completely different. I use something called Real-Time Board, which is basically just a big giant online whiteboard. That's all I use. So.
That's cool. Thanks for showing that, Seth. I would think it would be cool to, like, you know how just the end-to-end, you know, onboarding to QBOA for someone that has never seen it before or used it and used to desktop. And I thought it would be cool if we had like a visual kind of.
That's a great idea because as you can see, it's very flowchart-like. So yeah, you can clearly create a step-by-step outline in it.
And then a link to a video or some screenshot.
You can actually embed a video in the thoughts here.
Okay, because then you
very cool.
And then someone could watch the flowchart going through and kind of, you know, onboard themselves, which would be ideal. But that's cool. That's what I was thinking when I was watching your thing. I think there used to be an app like this. It was like, it was kind of went out like a bicycle. You might probably remember the name. This would have been back in like '08. Someone showed it to me. It's a spider or some kind of bicycle thing, very similar where, you know, you enter something down and then you have a bunch of spokes come out and you fill out what you want to do there, and then you have spokes per spoke to come out. It's basically like a flow. I forget what it's called. It was a fairly popular app for a while, and then
Well, there's MindJet, which is still in existence.
MindJet,
yeah.
sorry.
MindJet, but that's mostly it's a desktop app. It's not like I checked that recently because I was curious, and it's still kind of it still runs on desktop. You know, this was a desktop client, but that syncs to the web. And there's another one. If you Google mind mapping software, you'll find a lot of stuff. There's also Microsoft has a product called Visio, which is where you can really build like detailed outlines and structures and blueprints for all kinds of things. It's pretty cool.
Nice. That's awesome.
So this is the kind of stuff that Stacy and I want to do because there's so many apps out there, and people are always asking, how do I decide what's the right app for my business for this particular purpose? So we're not going to go out there and tell anybody what they should choose necessarily because we don't know, but we're going to kind of review them based on certain criteria, give our assessment, and in the process teach people kind of what we see, giving the demonstrations, and that way after seeing one of our shows on a particular app, you know, we're hoping that people can look at that and have enough information to, you know, substantially make a decision about whether or not the app we just covered is the right one for them for whatever purpose it serves.
Yep, exactly.
Nice. The brain.
The brain. Yeah, and I use, like I said, I use one that is a little bit different, and it is called, what's it called? It's called Real-Time Board, and really all it is just, you know, it's just a, it's just a whiteboard. So I'll do like it's just an online whiteboard. I'll do a quick share. It's super easy. It integrates with it integrates with my Google account, and I can share it. And it's just ridiculously easy. So it's got sticky notes, and I can zoom in, I can attach files, so if I want I can embed files from Google Drive or YouTube, or I can capture a web page or just link a URL if I want. I can upload something that is on my website, so it's pretty cool. I can add comments, so if I say, hey, this is a cool file, I can do that. You can have conversations. I can draw. I can just draw something if I want, and then I can share it with people. So if I wanted, I can save that, and I can share it with Seth if I wanted, and say, hey, Seth,
yay,
share this with me. And then he just will, you know, it's pretty cool. So this is just what I use, and it's just an online, you know, whatever. That's what I use for my kind of mapping stuff, to stick my notes and my thoughts and stuff. So that's just mine. So there's something, because for what Seth uses, that's not how my brain would work. And so that's why I love, when I was saying earlier, where Seth would choose something, I would choose something completely different. And that's why I love, and I think there's so many different solutions, and I think that's why it's really hard. As a business owner, I think it's really hard to make that choice, and it's really hard when you have 10 choices. How are you going to narrow it down? You don't have time to choose 10 apps or even try 4 apps, right? So that's where I think this is going to be a really good option. The Apposaurus Rex project, I think, is going to be a nice...
I'm glad you guys are doing that together. That's great.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. Anyway.
Jump out and hang with the fam. Seth, thanks for coming on and making it an awesome show. I think it's been cool and showing the brain. Now,
thanks for letting this riffraff into the room.
The desktop's free and the web is paid for the brain. Is that what you were saying, or is it?
We don't know really what we're going to do with it yet. Yeah.
But anyway, we will go over the Leon's Getting Larger list on another show next week. Don't we? Do we have a guest next week, Stacy?
We do have a guest. You know what? I have to look because I have everything scheduled out. So next week it's Gina Hahn, and she's going to be talking about QuickBooks Self-Employed. The week after that, we have Joe Woodard. And yeah, just coming on just to kind of shoot the shit. And then the last week of August we have Richard Blitz, because I don't know if you guys know, but QuickBooks Online US has multi-currency coming.
It's actually already in there.
Wow.
I know, but it's like it's not like a big push. It's been a limited release.
Yeah, not everybody has it, but if you do have it, just check your company settings. It'll be under advanced at the bottom.
Yeah, and then we have other stuff. I'm finalizing September guests as we speak.
Yeah. And if you use multi-currency in QuickBooks Desktop, there's no shock or change. It's almost exactly the same in functionality.
Yeah, it works really well. I've been using it with, I have a client in Iraq, and we've been using it since the middle of July, and love it. She's over the moon.
All right, well, again, Seth, thanks. Stacy, cool. Hope Dawn's having fun on our vacay. And sorry I had no picture, but, you know, that picture's fine.
It's all good.
Yeah, whatever. QBO Windows app, though. That is pretty cool. I think that will help some people.
That's very cool. I think a lot of people will want to use that.
That's all right. All right, well, hey, we'll see you next week then, Tuesday night, and QB Show live out.
Yeah, peace out. I just have one thing left to say.
Okay.
And that is Oscar Dan Laser.
You know what? I have one thing left to say too, which is that I'm having a good hair day, even though you can't see it under my hat.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. And,
thanks for having me.
You know, we're just trying to do a show about QuickBooks, man. That's it.
I hear you.
That's it.